Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. Now in today's video, we're going to check out the realme C55 and I'm going to give you a sort of like a very quick review and let's find out who this device is really for. Now, before we begin, I just want to let you know that I've actually got myself a couple of questions that I've already put down in my notes. So I'll be referring to the notes here and let's talk a little bit about the realme C55 and find out like what's really cool about this particular device. The first question that we have at the top here, what's the leap to champion all about? Now you can see this particular sentence in Realme's marketing. So this leap to champion is basically, sort of a tagline to show that Realme is really trying to put their efforts in making sure their phone is actually a segment leader in either one of the components of the device. So say for example, they are saying they have the best 64 megapixel camera in the segment or maybe the fastest charging speeds and all that. So it's all about leading, in terms of the segments. So that's just what the leap to champion is all about. Now the second question is actually more related to the phone here. Let's talk about the cameras. How are the cameras on this realme C55? Well, just to let you know, we do have a dual sensor setup. It is being led by a 64 megapixel main sensor as well as a 2 megapixel black and white sensor. So I would say the main use here is all about the 64 MP. I'm a bit sad that we do not have the ultra wide angle camera, but I can totally understand because Realme has got to cut some costs in order to put the price down and affordable for the masses. So let's talk about that main sensor. Essentially, what you do get here is actually the OM64V sensor, and this 64 MP is actually being found on more expensive devices. Now, right off my mind, I know that this same sensor can be found on the Poco F4. You can also find it on Realme GT Master, which was like, quite a mid-range to high-end device maybe about a year ago. So essentially, the point here is all about bringing that good sensor onto something so affordable like the realme C55. So I've just taken a couple of photos here and as you can see from the pictures that I've already shot, naturally pictures do look very good for a budget phone like this. At this price point, I think this particular sensor is really giving the users a very good photography experience, especially since at this price point, most of the phones out there are using pretty bad sensors. Alright, so let's move on to the next question here, number 3. What are the storage options? So for the realme C55, there is actually 2 storage options. You do have a 6/128 or a 8/256. So depending on the amount of storage you need, that will also correspond with the amount of RAM that will be provided. Now, if you ask me, the price difference is only 100 ringgit. In my opinion, for just extra 100 ringgit, you should straight away go for the 8/256 because it does give you a little bit more RAM and more storage to begin with. Other than that, it also supports, micro SD support all the way up to 1 terabyte. So again, for a very affordable phone like this, you do not need to worry about storage whatsoever. Alright, moving on to question number 4, can it game? Now I'm going to be very realistic with you. This device is being powered by the Helio G88. Naturally, yes, it can game. It can play games like Mobile Legends, PUBG, but my recommendation to you is to probably set the graphics settings to low or medium because this is after all a budget phone. So you can still do some casual gaming on it. Of course, if you play lighter games like Subway Surfers and all that, there will be no issues at all. But if you are thinking of constantly playing games like Genshin Impact, of course, this phone is not made to handle super large titles as well as graphic intensive games. So just to set your expectations straight, this device, the realme C55 can game, but look at those more common games like I said just now, Mobile Legends and PUBG, but at a low or medium graphics setting. Alright, so let's move on now. How was the performance with social media? Well, I would say that in terms of social media browsing and everything is actually quite smooth on the realme C55. The power is definitely sufficient. Like just browsing on Facebook and Instagram, it has been a very smooth experience. Couple that together with the 90 Hz LCD display that we have here, and browsing and scrolling on social media apps is just a very smooth process. Now speaking about social media, again, I just want to tie back very quickly to the camera just now. So again, we can see here that with that 64 MP camera, Realme is taking care of those people out there who wants to shoot, social media items on a budget. Just in case you're wondering about videos, by the way, I should pop that in. It does 1080p at 60 FPS, so fairly reasonable if you are going to be sharing this on social media. Alright, now let's move on. How is the battery life? Well, we do have a 5000 mAh battery in here, which again is pretty standard these days, but good to see on a budget phone. So I've actually been able to last, like more than a day on one single charge, and I think that's because, with that LCD display, you do save a bit of battery, and of course the Helio G88 is a sort of like efficient kind of processor, so you can actually expect quite a fair bit of, use time with the Realme C55. Now, the next question here is actually about charging speed. So how fast does it charge? In terms of charging speeds, they do provide the 33-watt charger in the box. It does 0 to 50% in under half an hour. I think it's 29 minutes to be specific. And if you are charging like 0 to 100%, it will take slightly more than an hour. But either ways, for this price point from just RM699, the Realme C55 does charge up at a fairly decent speed, and I think it's completely acceptable. Alright, last but not least, let's talk a bit about the design, the mini capsule. Right, so what's so special about this device? When I first got this phone, I think the main attractive point was that mini capsule that Realme is creating. So think of it as like the Android version of the dynamic island. You do have a couple of cool graphics going on at the moment, but right now it only supports the battery indicator. So it will show you when your battery is low, it will show you when it is charging, and it will also give a very quick prompt when it is fully charged. In the future, I hear that Realme is working on a couple more things like notifications and all that, but that is, to come. Currently, it's only supporting battery indicators. So I think that's a pretty cool feature, especially on something affordable like this. It makes the phone a bit more fun to use. Well, in terms of the design, well, we do have two colors, or at least I have two colors at the moment, and I think they both look great. For this price point, again, we do have a matte-ish back panel. There's a couple of textures going on at the back, but more importantly, the matte texture here prevents any unwanted fingerprints to stick on the back, and I think that is great. Other than that, me personally, I like flat sides on the frame, so that's what we also get here. Again, this is a personal preference kind of thing, so I won't talk too much about the design, but this is how the phone looks like, and just let me know if you like them or not. Alright, so at the end of the day, who is this device ready for? Who is the Realme C55 for? Well, I would say that if you are in the market, and you are looking for a budget device, something that is, really affordable, I think you should definitely check out the Realme C55. Not only does it come with a very stylish design, I think a few key selling points here, or key reasons why you might want to get this phone is at least it has a decent camera, the 64MP at the back. You also have a large storage, and in terms of the charging speeds plus battery, it does do pretty well as well. So those are just a couple of key items of feedback from me after using this device for slightly more than a week now. Alright, so with that said, we have reached the end of today's video. I'll put in a link down below if you want to purchase this device from Realme. If you have any further questions, feel free to pop them down in the comment section below. And thank you for watching today's video all the way to the end. Hopefully it's helped you out in some way or the other. With that said, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Do stay safe, take care, and till then, bye bye.